Hello, guys, and welcome back to today's episode of A Cuppa A Gab. I'm really excited for this one. So, today I have on with me Tori, who is actually a bit of my origin story, but we'll get to that in a minute. So, this is the podcast where we weave together neuroscience and woo woo. So, you will learn about how to improve your mindset, look at shifting limiting beliefs and anxieties and build your confidence. But we also talk about the universe and the energies and everything that's working in your favor around you. So, this is your safe space for learning. This is your safe space for growing. So, grab your cup of tea and come and join me today as I talk to Tori. So, firstly, Tori, welcome. Thank you for joining me. Yeah. So,
Honestly, thank you for having me on.
is really like, this is giving me like flashbacks. So, just to give a bit of context to listeners as to how we know each other, I met Tori 6 years ago now. Isn't that insane? It would have been 2020. That's fucking nuts, right? I know, right? So I met Tori back in 2020, going into 2021. We joined, which I'm sure we'll get into, but we basically were both part of a network marketing business. And she basically, so I got to know Tori through this online. And I was at this point where I was like learning things about mindset, learning things about business, but I was still struggling. And I was living in Edinburgh and I was going through a bit of a mentee bee, to be honest. And I saw Tori, only knew her through Instagram. I saw her living out in Lanzarote, laptop life, loving her life, right? And I remember just reaching out to Tori and saying, what are you doing out there? And she basically came back and was like, do you want to come and join? And I was like, this feels like mental. This feels absolutely mental to just like pack in my job, jump on a flight and go and live with, I think, 6 people or 5 people in a villa in Lanzarote, people who I've never actually met before. But fuck it. So I did it and I went away to Lanzarote and I lived with the beautiful Tori and genuinely just like got to know her as a person behind the scenes from the business and just loved her, like absolutely to this day, just absolutely love and adore Tori. And we've just like kind of stayed in each other's lives throughout the background, kind of cheering each other on from the sidelines since then. And Tori, you getting emotional thinking about, oh, don't even. We're definitely going to cry on this body, right? Oh, I know. Well, are you okay? Do you want to take a moment? Do you want me to keep talking?
Keep going, keep
Okay,
talking.
keep going. So I think, as you can kind of tell, like that was a very potent and transformative time in our life together. We've seen each other through so much over the last 6 years. There's been highs, there's been lows, but what has been unchangeable is myself and Tori remaining businesswomen who are focused on their health and their well-being. And with that, a bit of a belted of an intro, I'm going to now hand over to Tori, where just introduce yourself firstly. Like, who are you? Where are you from? What's brought you here with me today?
Just before I get into that, I just want to say it's so strange how you can perceive people online. And I think it's really important to share this with listeners of yours as well. Because you said, like, she was going out, she said, come and join. She was living this laptop quote lifestyle. Now, that was in a very exciting period of my time, like journey, but it was also in one of it was probably you're probably one of the first people I opened up to that I wasn't happy.
Yeah. Yeah.
And I think we live in a world where we put on such a mask on a stage. And I
Mhm.
think I've done that a lot my whole life and I've become better at it up until sort of like that's why I took a little bit of a break from social media as well after my split up. But it's funny how you I don't know, maybe it was just like that. Maybe I felt the calling for the right person to come
Mhm.
out and needed someone who I don't know what it was, but yeah, I don't even
No,
know how to articulate it in words. But I feel like you're at a place where you were living that lifestyle of still going out, having a drink, and I'd kind of gone past that. Like
yeah.
I broke through that, but for me, I then got myself into this other very toxic relationship, which continued 2.5 years after that.
Yeah.
Um, so it's really bizarre how people perceive each other.
Yeah.
Like part of me was happy because I'd broke out of the matrix, let's call it.
Yeah.
But part of me, and it was like kind of feeling like you had to sacrifice for something else. But
Yeah.
yeah, it's really interesting that,
Do
how people say you can see someone online. I think that's why I got so emotional because, and also I've watched your journey and behind the scenes. I know, like we said the other week, we've not been overly in contact, but you can see someone's journey. And I have been cheering you on in the background. And I'm just like, I'm so pleased that someone
Oh,
found
that's
love,
so kind.
happiness, not just with another person, but
Yeah.
within themselves as well. Because I know that was one thing you were striving for, was to love yourself
Yeah.
again.
Yeah.
And I know
Oh
what that
God.
feels like to find that.
Yeah.
Uh,
Oh, this is just gonna be a crying point. Do you know what's so interesting? You saying that I went out to Lanzarote with you guys because Tori was like smashing it in her business, like making like bank, right? And I remember going out thinking I want to do network marketing and make the amount of money that Tori's making. She can teach me. And I mean this in the nicest way possible. Like I hope this comes across as I mean it. I went out there to be a network marketer and I sat in the environment with all you guys who are absolutely smashing it and like making a lot of money. But I realized through our conversations and through obviously connecting with the other people that were there that you can have all this money, but if your mindset isn't quite right, that's what you need to focus on. And that was literally a turning point for me going, I need to be a mindset coach. And that's, remember, I did the shift into mindset coaching after realizing, this is the gap for me. But yeah, you're so right. Like I was depressed when I went out completely and utterly. And you were a huge part of the saving of me. So like I think this is just going to be an emotional podcast, guys, but we're here for it. But yeah, I
uh,
think what you're saying as well, like the mask online, it's so true. Like it's
I
completely
hate
and
it.
utterly, yeah,
I do. And I think to introduce myself, God, it's so hard because there's always been different versions of me. So I'm going to keep it as simple as possible. The person I am today is someone who has their fingers in a lot of pies, which I always have done. Even before entrepreneurship, I had multiple jobs.
yeah,
But if you're an entrepreneur, you have your fingers in multiple pies anyway.
yeah,
And I've never understood that mindset of having one job with multiple income, multiple outgoings. It never made sense to me. I'm someone that does still struggle, even though I'm a coach, and I guess you can vouch for this as well, Kirsty. Coaches struggle.
100%.
We tend to help in areas that we've helped ourselves through, but that doesn't mean to say that we still don't struggle in those areas as well. We
Yeah,
just manage them a little bit better. I actually had a breakdown this morning on my on my walk to the gym. Like I get very overwhelmed by things. Um, I'm still learning to set boundaries. So I'm someone that, as much as I look like I have my shit together, no one does, and I'll be really honest about that.
yeah,
I'm someone that is literally a human going through this journey at all different levels, being tested.
yeah,
Um, and pushing myself through each one in various different ways. I'm very pleased that I have someone who's a great sounding board in my life and a very supportive partner now,
yeah,
which I'm so, so grateful for.
yeah,
Um, so yeah, I have been an entrepreneur, I guess now for the last 7.5 years. I'm trying to build, well, I'm not trying, I have built a lifestyle around my work life balance. And I'm now on the way to basically doing the whole financial freedom thing. I've got time flexibility freedom, but I'm now
yeah,
on the way to getting financial freedom. And that's a big it's probably why I'm having so many wobbles and
yeah,
breakouts and things like that.
yeah,
um but yeah, I don't really know what else to say about me. Like I love traveling. I love different people. I love cultures. And I try to be as transparent and honest about things as I can because I know that I haven't been in the past.
yeah,
And I'm trying to now weave that into my personal brand. Um, so yeah, personal brand. Like I'm at a stage in my business and my life where yeah, I'm still figuring things out, even 7.5
yeah,
years on. And I know in another 7.5 years' time, I'll be figuring something else out.
yeah, yeah,
Um, so yeah, yeah, I'm not like very one-dimensional, but I do
yeah,
try and show up as much as I can as myself. So
yeah. You're a very
Yeah.
multifaceted woman, which I resonate with a lot, you know. And I think it's brilliant what you're saying is I think it's easy to look at people online and go, "Oh, good for them, like they've got their shit together." But often they can be the ones struggling the most. And something I always remind myself of is like new level, new devil, you know, you can be smashing it and then suddenly you're like, oh shit, here's a limiting belief about myself that I didn't realize I had. Or here's a,
Yeah, yeah,
you know,
yeah.
and you're like, new level, new devil. Okay, need to get through this one. So yeah, totally. So just where are you actually from then? Tell us about where are you from, where
Okay.
you grew up, and then because I met you in Lanzarote, that you then moved to Bali. So talk to me a little bit about your travels and where you're from.
Okay, so I come from a very, very small town in Norfolk.
Mm-hmm.
Um, I'm not Great Yarmouth. I'm just the other side of the water. I'm from a little really seaside town called Galston. It's got a very small population to the point you walk down the high street, and if you don't, it's very rare that you don't see someone that you
Yeah.
know. You know every like you can even tell if someone's not from that area.
Yeah,
It's
yeah, yeah.
bizarre
One of
feeling.
those.
Yeah, so you know what? We have like one Weatherspoons in our town. We have one bakery, like that type of small
Yeah.
town.
Yeah.
Um,
You're
I
not a
grew up.
small town girl.
No, no. I've always struggled to fit in. I wouldn't say I was like the black sheep of the family, but I definitely was the odd one. Even in friendship groups, I've never just had. Even when I was at school, we had like one friendship group, but even then, I was outside of school. I was like doing ballet, tap, modern jazz, performing arts, playing the clarinet. My mum had me doing so much because
Mm.
I couldn't stand still. She had to like literally entertain
Yeah.
my ADHD to the
Yeah.
like
Yeah.
to the fullest. Um, so I used to have friends everywhere, and that's continued through my life. I don't just have one group of friends; I have good friends in different places. And I always said, if I was to have a group of people at dinner table, I would bring. I know which people I would bring together, and I know they would all get on very well. And I know if I walked away from that table, no one would talk badly about me.
Yeah. It's kind
Do
of
you know?
table
Do
you
you
want to
know
be
what I
at.
mean? Like
Yeah. Yeah.
those people,
Yeah.
like yourself, you fucking know me. Sorry to drop
Yeah.
that, but you know me.
Oh
I've
no.
opened up to you. If I've opened up
Yeah.
to you, you'd be at my table. You're the
Yeah.
people that I consider my two a.m. people if I was to call.
Yeah.
Um, so yeah, I come from a very small town. I went into corporate. Well, I've done multiple jobs actually. God, I don't think there's anything I haven't done, to be honest. I went into the corporate was like my last point, and I was like, oh yeah, I got my foot in the door. Had this weird warped mindset of if I climbed the corporate ladder, eventually I'd have enough money to
Yeah.
leave and be able to travel for the rest of my life. Do not know where that came
No,
from.
it's never
Um,
enough.
and I got to about 20, well, probably my mid 20s, and I was like, the people who were like, 5, 10 years ahead of me, I was like, I can't see myself. Like, you weren't really selling me the position above me. You
Yeah.
looked miserable, for a better word. I did
Yeah.
not want to be there. Like, I even saw people asking to go see their kids' nativity play and be told no. And there was a few line in the sand moments, even for myself. One of the things, oh my God, ladies, like, listen to this. I got called in for a meeting once to ask in a pay rise. I want to see your reaction to this. I don't know if I've ever told you this. I got asked if for my pay rise if I was planning to have children in the next 5 years.
That's
Look at
illegal. Firstly, we get so discriminated against. But I'm sorry that was your experience because
no.
what the fuck?
I mean, I had my a VA that I'm training up, so I took her on as a like basically to eventually bring her up to my level, so then I can then just go higher, like above myself,
Mm.
basically, and not wear as many hats. And she came to me the other day, and I had a feeling she was going to tell me that she was pregnant. And she was like, I was really scared to tell you. I was like, why? I was just like, nothing's going to change. If anything, it's great
Yeah.
because you can for your first trimester,
Yeah.
and then when you leave work, you might not even have to go back to work. Like,
Yeah.
that's the great
Yeah.
thing. Like, you can make money whilst
Yeah.
you're off on maternity and still get paid, and then
Yeah.
have the potential to not go back to work. I was
Yeah.
like, let's just work at your own pace. If she had said that in her job, or I think her, like she's had to tell her job, and they do respect that. But if there had been another situation, or
Yeah.
maybe she was working for a guy,
Yeah.
not working for
No,
me, I see it
I
as
know.
working for me. I hate that. I hate all that. I see it as we're working together.
Yeah.
Could have been a completely different scenario.
Yeah. Yeah. And honestly, like, see, if I was to want anyone to be in control of my shit and like help me be a mum, like, I swear to God, we know how to fucking multitask and we know how to do things on lack of sleep. Like, we are powerful women, like, genuinely. But yeah, so you managed to get yourself out of the corporate world. So how did you do that then?
So I saw an opportunity online. So I started to do the whole Googling of how to make money online. I tried a few things like early in my early 20s, and I was like, oh, I don't really want to do that. I tried the whole makeup,
Mm-hmm.
you know, fragrance thing. And I was just like, oh, I hate selling to people. That was just like, nah, I'm not going to do that. And then I came across an ad, who was still my current upline, you'll know, Adam
Yeah,
Gately.
lately, yeah.
Yeah. We connected, and what I liked about it was is I didn't have to, he didn't sell to me. I went through, watched the video, and I was
Yeah,
like, oh, I
yeah,
really like how this ad is working. Obviously, coming
yeah,
from a sales background, operational process, I
yeah,
was like, I've come into this shop, we'll call it an online shop.
yeah,
Um, and you know, when you walk into any shop and someone says, oh, can I help you? And you just go, no, thanks. But if someone
yeah,
keeps pestering you, you're out of that shop, right? You
yeah,
don't want to be sold to. So I liked what was going on. I thought, do you know what? I blow like 3-4 times the amount of what I'm paying to sign up here on my weekends currently, whether it's
yeah,
me downing it or putting it up my nose.
yeah,
Yep. That
yeah.
was where I was at. By the way, my corporate job made me, well, didn't make me, but I fell into the party lifestyle, and it weren't just drinking, it went into
Yeah,
the
yeah.
drug
It's
side as
easy to
well.
fall into the lifestyle as well.
So
Like I
easy.
definitely did when
Yeah.
I was in pubs and stuff. It's yeah.
Yeah. And even in corporate, I can remember like microdosing, going
Oh
to
my God.
meetings. Yeah, it was
See,
horrendous.
I'm
Just
lucky. I don't go in the office because it is so easy when you're in an environment around like people who are partying. I've had to remove myself from those environments because I like partying. I know I do. So like I
yeah,
would just like don't really, I got myself out of hospitality, I got myself out of retail because I'm like I can't balance it. I can't do both. Mm.
no. So I came across this ad, and then I started the course. And I went live the first day that I actually affiliated with
Look at
a
that.
nudging
Yeah.
company that we first connected through. And that sort of didn't go viral around the internet, but it definitely, you know how people talk in an
Yeah.
office. Who does she
Yeah.
think she is? What's she doing? You know, I already had friends and family who were a bit like, oh, that's a scam. You know, why have you invested so much? But then I was just like, but hang on a minute, don't you guys invest in mortgages, cars on finance? Like
Yeah.
the
Yeah.
worst case scenario is here is me not
Yeah.
doing work.
Yeah.
And I think it was a bit of a cry for help as well, not just because I was unhappy in my career. Um, I was very unhappy with the life I was living at home. My mum was bedbound. I was scared that if anything happened to me and I got made redundant, whether it's in 5, 10, 15 years' time, I'd have nothing to fall back on
Yeah.
because the world doesn't care if you're sick.
Yeah.
Like
Yeah.
the world doesn't, and you've got to have something to stand on your own 2 feet for. And obviously the product as well. I was like, if I make no money, this product could help my mum. You know, I was
Yeah.
terrified of losing my mum, and I remember speaking to you about it at the time.
Yeah.
Um, there were so many factors, and I'd even wrote in my journal at the start of this journey, if I don't make something of myself by the time I'm 30, I will take my own life. I was done. Like I was
Yeah.
literally like, I
Yeah.
can't keep living this life on repeat. Like this, it
Yeah.
wasn't fulfilling. I had no fulfillment, and I had a deeper calling. Like
Yeah.
I'm so intuitive. Like I can sometimes sense things are going to happen, or
Mhm.
even down to how I manifested, like getting over to Bali, adopting a dog, or
Yeah.
even down to like now manifesting and getting with my current partner. Like
Yeah.
I know how scary this brain is. Like if
Mhm.
you believe you can't, you can't.
Yeah.
Like you
Yeah.
literally can't.
Yeah. Yeah.
So it's about how you rewire it.
Mhm.
And I've done this with a lot of coaching and NLP coaching and things like
Yeah.
that. And I adopt that even through my ADHD training and into now the platform that I'm now building. I'm not just building people to come in and make money. Like if you're
Yeah.
just here to make money, like go and get a job, go and do something that
Yeah.
has no meaning attachment to it. So
Yeah.
a lot of the stuff I do now is really layering yourself, like how do you build the life that you want? And I know manifestation sounds woo-woo because I can remember when you first had your crystals, I was just like, what on earth is going
I
on?
remember going to
And
the
I
crystal
still
shop
have.
with you and like having a field
Yeah.
day. I was just getting into crystals when I met Tori, and like my journey into crystals was so personal, and they suddenly became like a bit of an anchor for me in my healing. And I went out to Lanzarote. We went to a crystal shop, and you got one. I think I bought you a
I've
crystal.
still got them. I've still got
Yeah,
them.
you
I
got the
have them.
necklaces,
I
and
don't
it was
yeah,
such a nice experience. But you were just like, they're rocks, Kirsty. And I'm like, no, they're not. They're healing rocks.
but the thing is even when I first come on this journey, it took me 9 months to make my first sale, which by the
Yeah.
way isn't a bad thing. It takes 3 years to get to 3.
Yeah.
Put
Yeah.
things into perspective. If you're someone who is on this journey and you want to get somewhere, whether that is achieving a fitness goal in the
Yeah.
sports industry or whether that is achieving a business goal,
Yeah.
honestly, like it takes time.
It does.
Yeah, you can't
I
expect
think when
everything.
I met you, you had like it was like a 30,000+ month, I think, or something, like when
Yeah,
I went out. Yeah. So like,
yeah.
but no, everyone sees that. And that's what I realized when I met you as well, and which is what you're saying. You see the high, but you don't see the work that it's taken to get there, you know?
No, and you also have to learn to appreciate that money because after that became a massive crash. And
Mm,
yes, it was due to some of my relationship and not putting enough
yeah.
boundaries in there. And there were some other factors. But the reason I choose not to talk about that is I've lived by those mistakes and I've
Yeah.
now implemented that not happening
Yeah.
again.
Yeah.
Um, but yeah, like what was I going to say? Coming back to that point of, yeah, no, it took me a little
Where
while
we're
to do my first sale. And I was just like, I do not believe in all this mindset stuff, mindset therapy, weak people. That's the way I saw it.
mm-hmm.
And then when I picked up my first book, The Untethered Soul, and I started to read stuff,
Love.
yeah, I was like, I've got some serious issues here. Even when I went to
Mm-hmm.
my first two events with CEO Movement before it was DPM,
Yeah.
I was doing cocaine and drinking alcohol to feel confident around people. So
Yeah.
as I met you, I was coming out of the alcohol. I can remember you
Yeah.
saying, I don't want to come out. Like, and I was strongly set my boundaries to
Yeah.
know.
Yeah. Yeah.
I still don't go out. I maybe have, if I go out for a celebration, like, oh, I can have a glass of wine with a meal.
Yeah.
But I don't, like
Yeah.
me and party environments, we've been there, we've had a really
Yeah.
good time.
Yeah.
I
But
have
it's not for
no
you.
FOMO. There's no
Yeah.
FOMO anymore. I'm a 9 o'clock in bed girl, probably with my
Yeah.
laptop or,
Yeah.
just watch it, cuddle up to my boyfriend while he plays PlayStation. I'm happy
Yeah.
with that. Like
That's good.
that's
I think it's really wise to be able to like be that person. It's like, do you know what? Like I've dabbled and I'm not like I need to stop being dumb, basically. I remember in Lanzarote, Christmas Day, you ran a marathon and I went to the pub and got steaming. And I still to this day would choose mine, to be honest. Like I was at the pub partying with a bunch of
I'd
Irish
probably
folks
choose to
dancing.
get steamed
Like
now
it
over
was
a cup of
class. I'm still
marathon.
in touch with Ashley. Like it's actually her birthday today. But like honestly, you were very like, and you'll remember as well, you were like really trying to get me to look at my fitness. Like you were like, come do yoga with me, come running. And I was like, the only thing I remember saying to you, Tori, the only thing I run away from is my problems. And then
Yeah.
now
I
I'm
used
literally
to, and I
married to a
got it.
bodybuilder. Like it goes to show that like what I find is that you focus on one thing, and I was just speaking to a client about this. You focus on one thing and all other areas improve. So when I met you, I was focusing on mindset massively, and then in turn, physical health improved, and I'm the fittest and healthiest I've ever been, and I fucking love chucking heavy weights about. But when I knew you, like the person I am sitting here today and the person you are sitting here today, like we are not the same women that we were, but I'm so grateful for those women, you know, like they were the boss. Yeah. But like honestly, so let's just talk about, because you fascinate me in so many levels and you always have. Because I remember meeting you, and exactly as you're saying, you know, it's easy to tell that you're not someone who's just like immediately like, here, let me show you everything, let me tell you all. And I'm not saying you were standoffish, but it was just very clear that you were a woman who like kept her cards close. But as we got to know each other, and this was like probably within the first day, me and you were just suddenly like we'd known each other for life. And like it was really, really beautiful. But I've watched you go through a hell of a lot like since then. So talk to me about mindset. Like you're saying, I understand the power of this now, but how has mindset showed up for you, and how's, because I was literally saying this at the class on Saturday, right? Mindset is literally just a setting of your mind, and the settings of your mind work for you or against you. And I can see that we're getting a bit vulnerable here as well. Do you want to go a different direction, or do you want to talk to me about the last few years and your mindset?
Yeah, no, definitely we can. Oh, fuck, it's like an onion. I'm still peeling off layers. I'm still
Mm,
finding, but I communicate a lot better.
yeah,
And probably, like I said, my sounding board right now. And I even joked to Wiz on the way back from the walk. I was like, I feel like you're my unpaid therapist.
yeah,
And so is my dog. And so is my dog. I never thought
yeah,
I would have a partner that,
yeah,
fuck, I'm grateful for it, that I could actually open up and be as vulnerable to as I can be. because prior I would be told I can't deal with your emotions. And there are layers to me. I am very deeply there is a lot of triggers and traumas there, and expectations I set for myself. Over the last 9 months, I've been doing womb trauma healing. Both on
Womb
my
healing. Yeah,
yeah.
I've done that.
So I've had it, and I thought I would have more on my dad's side, but I've actually worked through a lot of my dad's stuff. Like I would now go and sit and have a cuppa with my dad and give forgiveness and be able to say to him, here's the floor, like you talk about it, I'm not going to take anything personal, because this wasn't our relationship, that was mine and yours and my mum's relationship. But I
Yeah.
actually had a lot of trauma come up on my mum's side, and I haven't ever told her that. And that's not me saying bad things about her or anything like that. But even when I did say to her, I've been doing womb like healing, one thing you should not do is go and tell like your family that you're doing it, because the first thing I got was, when is all this trauma healing going to end? You sound like you've had a really bad childhood. I done the best that I can, and it was reflected back. Which was some of the things that were coming up within that healing. So I've been doing that. So that's been the next thing for me. I'm very I'm working or constantly working on boundaries with my clients, because I don't just have a Magic now. I have a social media agency. I'm a coach, and I do various other content stuff as well. So not very one-dimensional, but
Are you a manifesting generator by any chance?
no, I'm a projector.
You're a projector. Yeah, that makes sense. That makes sense.
Yeah. I am, so healing for me has been coming back to myself. So 2 years ago in July, me and my ex split up, who and I lost myself, because obviously you go on such a journey with entrepreneurship. And I don't want to slate this person too much, because obviously I brought him in, I chose to be with that person, and we each went on our journeys all the way through. And we both sort of carried each other through that journey, and we done the best that we can for two people who didn't really like each other. But when I got to the stage 2 years ago, and I was ready to have that relationship gone, like I've been manifesting that gone for like 2 years, but there was fear for me to walk away. But once I did, and I had that space, it was almost like I could actually cry without being judged. And I just had this sacred space. And then I was like, fuck, I'm not the person I was when I started this journey. What do I want now? That was really scary, because the person who started off on that journey the year before meeting my ex was the party girl, living for the weekend, just wanted to come in here, make money, travel, and was so different. And I was like, what do I actually want? So I tried to come back, or tried to keep a Magic afloat. And then I was like, I'm going to take a couple of months off. And then I tried to come back in, and I was like, I just need to slow down, come back to my fitness. I'd gained loads of weight through stress and a shocked to bit nervous system. So I had to come back to basics of earning a little bit less, being okay with that, and letting go of control, and actually just pouring back into me. And when I did, I started to change. But at the same time, I'd gone back into the single mode, went back on dating apps. Anyone who lives in Bali knows imagine the UK and the rest of the world, like Bali is a completely different realm. And I was like, okay, this is good to like get back on the horse, get back in the saddle, gain a bit of like confidence in yourself, because the last thing my ex said to me was, I'm not sexually attracted to you anymore, we need to end this. And they were the words that he said. And I was just like, okay, whatever, like we all lose connection with someone sexually when we're gone. Like for me, that had gone like years ago. So but at the same time, it knocks my confidence. I didn't look great with it myself. So I had to rebuild and be okay with being a little bit bigger. And I just was just like, you can get back to where you can, but don't try and force trying to do everything and being everyone and wearing the hat. So I took a step back, and with that came my team slagging me off. It came with my team reaffiliating, and sometimes reaffiliating with higher amounts underneath other people, not getting the support that I needed, which actually shows who's there with you in the trenches when you need to time out. And like when people I'm always very happy to give, like a bit like how like my girls just said, at the moment I'm pregnant, I'm not gonna be able to do much. I'm like, I'll honor that. It was like as if now the roles are reversed, that I was like, what is this teaching me? Okay, when
Yeah.
I come back into this business, whether that's in a year or 2 years time,
Mhm.
what am I going to accept and what am I
Yeah.
not going to accept? So
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
started to learn who I wanted in my circle. And that wasn't just in business, that was in personal as well. And I had a
Mhm.
very good friend on that journey who was 12 years younger than me. He had connected with me and Jack in the early stages of business when he was 15, 16. Um,
Oh
and
yeah, I think I've seen this guy. Yeah.
yeah, Luca,
Yeah.
literally and then he got a girlfriend and she's also been my rock and my PT. I don't think without them two, and I know they say like younger people, don't understand the world. They're two old souls that
Yeah.
have
Yeah.
found each other. I'm so happy. And I spent a lot of time with them.
Good.
And I still speak to them now and connected. And I don't think I would have got through some of what I did without those people, and then
Yeah.
my coach as well. But yeah, mindset and consistency and showing up to myself. So, in answer to the mindset side, I had to take a step back and be okay with earning less and pour back into my cup.
Yeah.
Um, I then had to realize, okay, what are the things that aren't serving me anymore? And that was dating apps. Because was
Mm.
I just running away from my problems?
Yeah.
There was those sides of things, and I had to really look at what was working, what wasn't, and then I started to think about like how like, and I just rebuilt really really slowly instead of
Mm.
doing the thing of trying to rebuild quickly. I
Yeah.
became uncomfortable with it first, but I became comfortable with building slower.
Yeah. Yeah.
So there was that. And then I realized that one of the key things I wanted to do to find my future partner, whether that was in a year's time, 5 years' time, 10, that I needed to learn relationship communication. So I went and done communication with men and women. And I learned a lot about that. And I was like, in order to get something that you deserve,
Mm.
you need to put in some understanding to that, and why you were allowing other people, like people that didn't deserve your love, your care, into your life. Like what were those triggers? And then that was when I
Mm.
started then going into doing the womb healing and everything as well. It's been
Mm.
painful. It's been painful. There's a lot of things that have shown up which, yeah, have been very very uncomfortable.
Mhm.
Even down to certain situations I put myself in, and learning about rape and child abuse, like, and things like that.
Mhm.
Having those to show up, and actually why I've made some of the conscious decisions in my life
Yeah.
in around sex, drugs, and alcohol.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
I've never been addicted. It's just been like vices. I
Yeah.
think
Yeah.
probably relate to that. It's just what you're comfortable with. If you've
Yeah.
been brought up in an abusive family, 9 times out of 10, you kind of go on to be an abuser.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean,
Uh,
the journey you've been on is like this will probably take 5 podcasts to just like
oh,
go through like the so we're definitely going to be doing a part two, guys. But like I just want to highlight, like, firstly, celebrate you, because exactly as you're saying, it's not easy. It's not easy when one, you feel like, you've been up here, even you're saying with earning up here, and then there's a crash. And like this is something I teach on often, is like the depletion is inevitable. So you'll have these seasons of like manifesting, smashing it, you're confident, everything's going well. But there's an old hermetic law. Do you follow any of the hermetic teachings? They're really
no, I've heard
interesting.
of it, but I do know what it is. Yeah,
Yes,
yeah, yeah.
I'll give you a wee insight over. I'll send you some stuff over. But basically, hermetic principles. One of them, you will know what goes like as above, so below. So it's like what goes up must come down. Energy, what rises must fall. So it's about understanding, if you're having a season of like confidence, empowerment, manifesting, eventually the way energy works, you're going to have that crash. And that is what I teach my clients, is resilience, about almost like expecting the crash. And how do you handle the seasons, like the seasons you've just been through, of what the fuck is going on? I've had the ground ripped out from under me. Like I had that season. I've been doing mindset coaching 6 years now, and I genuinely had like a 4 year high. I was like, everything's fucking class. Like, and then I got pregnant, and we had obviously all the health complications with my son, and also like I had a lot of complications. Like I ended up with sepsis in labor. stitches, basically everything that could go wrong with labor went wrong with my labor. And also I gained so much weight. So I can really relate to what you're saying when it comes to the body image side of things as well. Like I remember I went back into coaching probably too soon as well. And I was sitting there doing calls on confidence, looking at myself, being like, I fucking hate what I'm looking at. Like I don't like who I am or where, like what I'm looking like right now. But again, it's a journey. I feel like exactly as you're saying, you need to go through these seasons in order for you to now be the woman who's sitting here in the healthy relationship, like happy, smashing her business and doing business on your terms. You had to actually confront the devils and be like, okay, like this is no longer going to be my story though. And that's what you've done. So I'm really, really proud of you for that.
Yeah. I mean, even this morning when I say like I had a breakdown, like they are normal, it's like why, like sometimes I even get angry with myself. I'm like, hang on a sec, Wiz, Wiz, how can I phrase it? Can you get me the charger? Can you get me the charger, please? Yeah, I was like, how can I like why am I not happy at this stage? Like it's almost like when I gain something, I lose something. And sometimes you have to pick up to put down. And I know this theory because I teach it within my coaching, which is crazy. But it's like, okay, I'm now breaking through that next level. But it's like I still struggle from time to time. And I want people to know that people do struggle, is juggling and remembering everything. And when I don't, or if when something goes wrong, I'm still quite hard on myself and how to be softer. And I definitely know I'm on the journey to being softer on myself, because I would have had like panic attacks, breakdowns. And this was more just like a overwhelm. But time I went for a walk and a run and I breathed and I come back and sat at my desk, I was like, okay, it's not as bad as what I'm making it out to be in my head. But they are my struggles. My struggles are, you know, still boundary setting, applying too much pressure around time deadlines and things like that, and taken on more than I can chew.
Yeah. You're a very ambitious woman. You're very ambitious.
Yeah,
and I've really watched you achieve a lot of the ambitions, but yeah, I think there's definitely a time where you need to say like, I don't need to do everything all at once for everyone. Yeah.
But it's a bit like, you know, how I've brought the same habits and patterns into entrepreneurship before what I had, you know, even when I was younger, I'd have 3 or 4 jobs on the go. You know, I'm used to being on the go, and I'm kind of in my head, I'm ready to slow down. But that scares the shit out of me. You know, even down to, you know, I was scared of having children, you know, and I'm still breaking my way through that. That terrifies me, but I know that I want to be in a position where I'm calm once, and that's my goal. My goal is to get myself to a softer, calmer position, less stress on myself, because I don't want to carry that through. There's,
I mean, you know a lot more behind the scenes, like my kind of personal experience with upbringing and everything, but like I was the same. Like when I got pregnant, I was really scared because I have very loving parents, you know, but like there was times where things went wrong. And there's a quote that like may help you in this moment as well that I used to, and I still do tell myself, but it ran in the family till it ran into me. And like I will repeat that over myself and like literally like retrain my brain that like it doesn't, just because it's been the way it has been, it doesn't need to continue on that way, you know. And like, but what I will tell you is like motherhood, it fucking cuts you open and cuts you raw, like not just labor, right? It like being a mum exposes all the vulnerabilities, all the fears, all the like limiting beliefs, the intrusive thoughts get louder. But I love it as well because like I've never experienced strength and resilience and love and even forgiveness for myself like I have in motherhood, you know. It's just a different chapter. So I would definitely say like it's never perfect timing. Like I think it's terrifying, you know, when you're like raising a child, and but like it's about it, as you're saying, it's just when that time comes for you, it's going to be another chapter that you're writing it as you're doing it, and you will just keep doing what you're doing, like smashing it, because what I've always seen and known from you, Tori, is that like no matter what's been thrown at you, you're like, okay, let me take this brick and build my legacy.
Yeah.
Let me take this brick and build my kingdom. And like that is what really inspired me when I met you, is like, let me take your bricks and build my fucking legacy, you know?
Literally, I'm a survivor. Like, put me on a
You
desert
are.
island, I'll survive.
Yeah.
And I do know that. I'm like, throw another storm at me, we can get through
Yeah.
it. But I think one of the things, like coming back to that quote, that I didn't want to have in relationships
Mm-hmm.
is, I've seen this, definitely not going to let my mum listen to this, is that the relationship that she's had, which is like narcissistic, always arguing, I never wanted that in a relationship. And I can remember my first relationship before my current ex, we never used to argue. And I always used to say in that relationship, I was like, I never used to argue. And that was something I didn't want to carry forward. I value communication, honesty.
Yeah.
I know I'm not the easiest person to
Yeah.
understand because I have to live in my head. So
Mm-hmm.
anyone who deals with me, like, they've got patience of a saint. Um, like they really, really have. Like, there's some crazy stuff that goes on up in there. But she's a beautiful person at the same time. Um, but that was something I didn't want to carry
Yeah.
into the next chapter of my life. If not, I didn't want a relationship at all. There's just
Yeah.
no way. I'm not saying you don't have arguments. I don't want to have arguments. I want to have healthy debates.
Yeah. Yeah. That's
Yeah.
something that I'm grateful for me and my husband. Like, you know, I think it's easy from, and I had it someone say recently where it's like, you know, oh, it's like you have such a perfect life or perfect relationship, I think was the context. And I'm like, I get why it looks like that, but like marriage is hard, it's work, it's literally two humans deciding, like, regardless, we are going to stick together and be together. And like, I adore my husband, but there's times where, especially everything we've been through, like with the trauma of open heart surgery on your son, like that will push two people to the greatest extent. And what I've learned is that you just need to keep meeting each other where you are and who you are now, because Hamish is not the same man that I met, and he's meeting a different woman. You know, I'm completely different in motherhood. But as like, I find it really is going back to what you were saying, like it's about the perception online and actually reality. And I think what people, I find a lot of the time is like people like expect perfect, and when it's not perfect, then they're cutting and running. But you need the healthy communication, like you're saying, like, and we don't raise our voices at each other. Raised voices are not happening in this home; they never have. But it's about like being able to have the conversations that are going to enable the kind of fruitfulness within a relationship, for sure.
Yeah.
So,
I
Tori, we've got 10 minutes, 5 minutes left before I need to wrap up for my next call. So, I want to just in the next 10 minutes just get a little bit of insight to you. Like, so you're currently in Africa, yeah?
Yeah, so we're in Gambia, so where my partner is from.
Yeah.
We just come out here. He got some land that he's got over here. He's not doing too much with it at the moment, but he's also doing a bit of content out here, and yeah, just spending a bit of time out here seeing family. So he's out here for a few months, and I've came out to join him for a month. So we're doing a little bit of long distance at the moment.
Yeah. So is your
Yes.
base still in Bali then? Yeah.
Yeah, my base is where my fur child is.
Yeah, yeah. What's your dog's called again?
Elsa.
Elsa. Yeah, she's
Yeah,
beautiful.
yeah.
Yeah. So Tori
She's very,
got was she a straight dog that you took
yeah,
in?
she was. Yeah, we got her as a puppy. I got her as a puppy. Yeah, she has, she's been, oh God, she's been my crying blanket and
Yeah,
everything.
yeah, yeah.
There's nothing that, if that dog could talk.
Yeah, I know. I know.
Damn.
They're the best friends, aren't they?
Yeah. Yeah.
So, like, to a lot of people on the outside looking in, look at your Instagram, but you are very vulnerable and real and raw in your content, which is what I love. But like, people might look at you and go, "She's living a fucking dream," right? But you know, and as you've shared in this podcast so vulnerably, thank you for that. Is there's a journey to get here. So if there's any
Mm.
women who are watching this and they're like, I would love the nomadic kind of online lifestyle, but what would be your tip for one, like chasing dreams, but also for surviving, as you said? And I do just want to say also, like you've said you're a survivor, but like I feel like it's your chapter. I feel like you just need to hear this. It's your
Yeah.
chapter to stop surviving. You know, it's time. Like you've had enough battles. But like, what would be your advice to any women sitting here right now that are maybe still in that party phase, still in the corporate phase, still in the like hating on themselves phase? What would you say to that
Okay.
woman?
That future version of you, is she doing exactly what you're doing right now?
Mm-hmm.
You don't have to stop all of it overnight,
Yeah.
but in order to get to that person, what have you got to drop? And we're not going to call it sacrifice because alcohol, smoking, drugs, they're not sacrifices. They're vices. They really, really are. Look at your circle. Are the
Yeah.
people who you're surrounding yourself with where you want to be? Now, that could be, and also even when you come into like networks and communities, if you don't get the right vibe from people, and that's exactly why I've pulled away from some of my networking things as well. So this goes on throughout the journey
Mm-hmm.
as well. But look at where you currently are. Are the people where you want to be? If they're
Yeah.
not, it's not going to say you're not going to be their friend. You have to hate them, but sometimes we
Yeah.
need to step back, and that might come with a little bit of loneliness and
Mm-hmm.
people talking about you. But actually, that's your fuel. You need to the bet. Like I can remember taking my stepdad, bringing my mum, my stepdad over to Bali for the first time, and I took my stepdad out on a scooter and I took him up to this really amazing viewpoint in Bali. And he got really emotional. I said, "What's up?" And he was like, "I'm so sorry." And I was like, "So what are you sorry for?" And he was just like, because we didn't speak for the first 2.5 years of me starting my business. I got a van instead of buying a house. He thought I was batshit crazy.
Yeah.
Um, and he cried. He was just like, I get it now. I get it. And I said, no, thank you for not believing in me because you're what I needed.
Yeah.
And
The
he's in one of
fuel.
my videos in my discovery process now talking about what if my friends and family don't believe in me.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
he cries on that. He cries. So people who don't believe in you, they'll either be sorry or they will just continue watching. At the end of the day, if the people around you are not where you want to be,
Mm-hmm.
you're going to have to drop them. And that doesn't mean
Yeah.
say you have to be an asshole. You just need to take a step back. And sometimes it's
Yeah.
just be, hey, I'm busy. You don't even need to
Yeah.
say why.
Yeah.
Spend some time completely on your own. It's going to
Mm-hmm.
be uncomfortable, but you're going to have some conversation. You're going to get to know yourself. You're going to get
Yeah.
to know what these thoughts are that come up. Do some journaling.
Yeah.
Move through it. Replace the weekends with working on what's going to get you to that future
Mm-hmm.
version of you.
Yeah.
Continue fucking doing that
Yeah.
until you believe in yourself so much. If you're someone who's smoking, which I was,
Mm-hmm.
um, tell yourself that you're not a smoker and you don't really enjoy that. Eventually, you'll go off
Yeah.
it.
Yeah.
You will just one day
What
be
you,
like,
yeah.
enough.
What you repeat and you wire, like this is the thing. Like I was literally saying this at the class on Saturday, and I think this is a good point to like wrap up on is like initially for you to actually achieve anything in life, you first need to pretend that it is yours. So as you're saying, pretend you're not a smoker. Like the brain loves repetition. And it's literally a case of like, and so think about like to fall asleep at night, you need to pretend you're asleep first. You like lie there and pretend you're asleep. So in order to actually achieve anything that you want, you need to first pretend it's yours and act as if it is already.
Yeah. And as
Yeah,
well, like, why do you want to keep waking up feeling like shit? Like, I know if I, like, me and my partner talked about this the other day, we need to stop eating food as late as we are because we wake up and we feel like
yeah,
shit.
yeah,
Listen to your body. The more
yeah,
you open up your body and stop putting bad toxins in it,
yeah,
your body will go, I don't want this, and it will push
yeah,
everything away.
yeah,
And it's the same with like dating and like
mhm,
sleeping with people. Eventually, like I had a point where I was like, oh, I actually feel like shit when I wake up from sleeping with this person. So I
yeah,
stopped
yeah,
dating. I stopped just like
yeah,
getting into that cycle.
yeah,
So what would the future version of yourself do?
yeah,
Go and write that down and
yeah,
get really clear on that vision.
yeah.
Don't pretend like, don't fake it till you make it, but
I
start
hate
to,
that. Yeah.
yeah, don't like fake anything or
No,
anything like that,
yeah,
but
get
just start
crystal
showing
clear.
up
Yeah.
little
And
bit by little.
also, top tip is write it in present tense. So like I
Mm.
am living here and like I am everything that follows I am will come true. Tori, thank you so much for your time today. Can I ask you on so that you can't say no? Can you come back for a part two?
Yes.
Please. But thank you so much. We have so much more to talk about. I wish I had longer, but I really appreciate your time. Guys, I'm going to tag Tori's account under the video. Please go and give her a follow. Watch her journey as it unfolds and all the amazingness that Tori's yet to do in her life. And please make sure you like and subscribe and comment if you've enjoyed this video.
Yeah,
Thank you,
and if
Tori.
anyone's got any questions, yeah, just always feel free to inbox me. I love conversations
Yeah,
with people.
absolutely. Thank you, Tori.
Take care.